What up, it's your boy, Overtime Larry, coming at you live. Shout out Baller Visions. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about a simple topic. Does the CIF really care about its players? But does it care about its players overall, So let's just get right into it, The California Interscholastic Federation has been known to listen to its players until a recent rule was announced. California high school athlete scholars have been living the high life with names such as Cassius Stanley, Josh Christopher, Demetrius Dudley, Mikey Williams, Quentin Webb, Jalen Green, etc. And they've been backed by the CIF, the federation that organizes their sport, basketball. As in many sports, different clothing styles are introduced. Common styles are things such as CR7s or Cristiano Ronaldo 7s in soccer, or Air Jordans in basketball. But these fads are accentuated in the basketball community because they do it for the culture and they want to leave their mark with styles, because a lot of them, basketball is probably one of the hardest sports to go pro in. A lot of them, this may be the last place they're playing at, or they might go to college and kind of just fizzle out. But they want to leave their mark with this, and not only that, they got their cities on their back. Boogie Ellis, he says he's got the city on his back. Mikey Williams says he's got the city on his back. I mean, they do live in different cities, but they live in the same county. But when did basketball actually become this trend-setting platform? This all started with the Fab Five, or, University of Michigan's 1991 recruiting class. They brought less original styles like saggy shorts and more original styles such as black shoes with black socks, But since then, basketball players of any age really can kind of gain traction and influence very easily. For example, Mikey Williams, he's in 8th grade. He's 14 years old. And he has 500,000 followers on Instagram. Just on Instagram. Come on, bro. I don't even have 400. But, that's just the type of world we live in. But they use it. But I did take a picture with my boy, though, so... But they use this influence to promote different things like shoes.
I like shoes a lot. Yeah, you wear shoes everywhere, keep your feet comfortable. For sure, I got my own shoes, so BBB.
Clothes, celebrations. Yeah, that's about it, Oh, and shows.
I be watching Troll Hunters all the time. That's my favorite Netflix show.
What's Troll Hunters? I never heard of it.
It's like this little boy, he like a normal little human. He find a little amulet, and then he turned into like a little super dude.
So what's even the issue? The issue is a big rule change, which does not allow the rolling of shorts, a style that has been gaining a lot of traction over time. But not only was the rule changed, it seems as though the CIF didn't even listen to its players. Many players advocated for the rule to be changed. Freshman Quentin Webb says, a group of basketball players in California tried to start a petition, but it didn't really work. But take this into consideration. Quentin is no, random guy. This guy plays elite travel basketball. He was at one point ranked 6th in the country in one of the best classes. He played in the same class as Mikey Williams and Elijah Fisher. Bruh, that's kind of crazy. And, there's more hard hitters that were actually advocating for this too, such as Josh Christopher, who is in the class of 2020, and he's ranked 9th in the country, and he's ranked 2nd in his position. Not only that, there was a huge petition to go out with 9,000 people that signed it. Now, take this into consideration, right? There are approximately 500,000 CIF participants, right? Basketball players. Now, split that about, I would say 300,000 are men and 200,000 are women. All right? Now, there's 50 states, and the CIF only really goes over California. So there's probably only about 50,000 people in California, which means that 20% of Californians signed this petition. And we don't even know how many knew about it, you know? So that's already crazy. And the CIF didn't even care, right? And they just said it was unsafe and for the shorts to be rolled, you know? The reason why this sparked so much outrage is not really because of the law itself, but that no one really listened. The way that the protest was handled, a lot of players say that it wasn't really handled in a good way. Protesting has come into the spotlight in a lot of sports recently, for example, football. But basketball players are actually known to be listened to early on by their managers and by their sponsors, which leads to less protests and strikes. For example, I think the last strike there was in basketball was in 2012. That was 7 years ago. But the way this was handled really makes CIF basketball players feel as though they don't really have a voice. How are players combating this, though? A lot of players are just taking the risky route and they just roll their shorts up anyway, but we've seen how that goes, you know, just tech, you know, but bigger names are actually doing something else. They just take it to the tailor and hem the shorts. Josh Christopher said, honestly, the only way to do it, or the only way to keep my style, is just to take it to your tailor and they'll make it as big or as small as you want. But before he found this trick, he did play in boxers.
Why he did that? Why he did that?
So, I don't know if I want to take his advice, but you know, that's really just how they're combating it. You know, they're still kind of protesting, but at this point, it's already playoffs. You know.
Why he did that? Why he did that?
Maybe next season. How will this end? The CIF did not play around, and they ultimately didn't even listen. But there are common speculations that with enough support, this rule will be changed. So it leaves the CIF with two choices. Do they, A, change the rule and show that they can be just shoved around by any type of protest? Or B, do they stay firm and show that they don't listen to their players? Quinton Webb says, I think it's kind of stupid considering that it won't affect or change anything. It's just a style. While the CIF states that this is an old rule and it's just being enforced. What do you think? Should the CIF change this rule or should it stand firm to its ways? Out here, we reporting live. This has been Baller Vision's Larry, and Ball is life, you know, shout out overtime.